Hey everybody, it's Audrey. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. On today's episode, I will be taking you along with me from Thursday to Tuesday. I'm always asked how I get so much done and find time for this or that, so I thought I would kind of show you what my day looks like. So on Thursday, I left the house like every work day around 6. I work 10-hour days, 6:30 to 4:30. After work, my husband met me at the office with our kids and a couple of my daughter's teammates. They had a ball game that I needed to take them to. My husband helps coach, but on this particular night, he had a prior engagement, so I'm going solo tonight. While I waited for the game to start, I worked on content for the next week. I use any spare minute I have to work. Typically, this is the time when people scroll on their phones or read. I work full-time and I don't have a management company or an assistant, so I try to take advantage of every spare minute that I have to make sure my followers feel heard and to make sure I always have fresh content for them. After the game, we grabbed fast food and then headed home, which was about 45 minutes away. The next day, which would be Friday, we were leaving in the afternoon for a softball tournament, so I needed to spend my Thursday evening tidying the house and packing. I started by straightening up the trunk and packing my wagon for the tournament. I have a Chevy Equinox and it's smaller. I like it because I drive like 20 miles to work every day, so for gas mileage, it's great. But when you've got, softball bags and stuff, it gets a little tight. So I have to kind of get creative with how I store everything in the trunk. And then I went ahead and tidied the car. As a lot of you know, I will also tidy my car on the day I complete my weekly 10, which is usually Sunday or Monday. But since we had a long trip ahead of us, I wanted to go ahead and get it cleaned up before we left. And then I'll go ahead and tidy it one more time when we get back. After I tidied the car, my husband and I went to check on the progress at the house. The workers had staked it for concrete, which was to start next week. When I got back, I started on tidying the house, beginning with the kitchen. I basically just tidied the kitchen, did the dishes. I always feel like if the kitchen's clean, the whole house feels clean. Once I got the majority of the tidying done, I grabbed a shower. After my shower, I finished the daily 6, which was basically just wiping down the counters. And then started laying out clothes we plan to take with us. We obviously don't own bags or suitcases because of the house fire, so I laid everything out on the table while we decided how best to pack it. Obviously, we can afford new bags and such, but we're just really hesitant to purchase anything right now since we basically don't have a home and we don't have storage. So we kind of just use what is around us in the interim here until the house is finished. We ended up using my son's backpack from school and a couple grocery bags. My husband used a bag that someone had given him for his stuff. Once I finished tidying and packing, I went to our room and touched up my toenail polish. While that dried, I responded to emails and notifications, and then I laid down about 11:30. On Friday morning, I had to go into the office for a couple hours. I pick one day a week to be off. This week was supposed to be Friday, but I needed to finish a couple things. So I worked until 9:30, and then I headed back home to keep tidying and finish up any last-minute housework, which was basically just the daily 6. Dishes, sink, finish laundry, vacuum, make bed, wipe down counters one last time. Yes, my parents would also be home, but technically we're guests in their house, and I don't want to leave it a disaster. Also, it's part of my routine to get my home tidy and neat before a trip. It helps a lot with my mental health when I come home to a tidy space. My daughter spontaneously asked me to make her some tiger bites for the road, so I whipped those up real quick. I vacuumed out my car because I didn't do that the night before, and then we headed out. We took one of Isabella's teammates to the tournament with us. When we got to our destination, we checked into the hotel and then headed to the field. They only had one game on Friday, so we came back so the kids could swim, and we ordered them Uber Eats. They also loved grabbing snacks from the hotel and saying, "Charge it to room 117. We actually ended up with a bill of like $120 in snacks, but it's okay. You only live once, right? After dinner, my husband and I relaxed in the lobby while I worked on content. I went to bed around midnight. Then on Saturday, we didn't play until 4:30, so we were able to sleep in and chill around the hotel for most of the morning. We went to Target, and then we went to eat lunch at Mod Pizza. We had never been. It was delicious, and I'm trying to find a reason to drive 2 hours and go back. We ended up playing 2 games on Saturday evening and none on Sunday. So we left the ball field around 9 p.m. on Saturday. We went through drive-through for supper and then came back to the hotel. Also, during our stay at the hotel, I did do a few loads of laundry, so we wouldn't have much at all to do when we arrived home. I got to bed around 11:30 on Saturday. Again, on Sunday, we were able to sleep in. I got up first around 7, ate some breakfast, and started loading up the car. Everyone was still asleep, so I worked on content in the lobby so as not to disturb their slumber. We loaded up and headed out around 10:30 on Sunday morning. We got home a little after 1 on Sunday. We went by the house to see the progress that happened on Friday when we were gone. And then we unloaded the car. My husband likes to clean up from a trip as soon as we get in. So do I. So once we got everything into the house, we put it all away. And then we actually took a nap for a couple hours. And then my mom and I left around 4 to go with my future sister-in-law and her father to check out a possible caterer for their wedding, which will be next summer. When we arrived home, I got right to work on content. I had a lot lined up, so I needed to get a lot of scripts written. The next morning, I woke up around 7. I slept in. There's definitely a pattern for this weekend. I'm sleeping in a lot, it seems like. Monday was my day off for the week. My son and I took my daughter to basketball camp and then ran over to Walmart for a pickup, and then I needed to go inside for a couple items. Then we met my husband at the camp and watched for a little bit. I worked on content while we waited her to finish up, and then I took the kids with me. We had some returns at UPS, and then we got drive-through for lunch. When we got home, we saw the concrete truck was at the house, so we drove by. Then I unloaded groceries, and I'm ashamed to admit I actually napped this afternoon too. For someone that never naps, I actually took 2 in 2 days, plus I slept in. It was crazy. I don't know. I was busy all weekend, and my brain was tired from content, so I was definitely okay with the rest. It was just very abnormal. They had poured the footings on Monday for the basement, so I drove by to check out that progress. And then I cleaned out my car, recorded some voiceovers, and got to bed around 11 on Monday. Tuesday was a normal day, so I got up and left for work around 6, got home around 5, and then we had chicken taco salads for supper. Really easy and quick, just like a base of lettuce and then this chicken mixture and then Doritos on top. Really filling, really low calorie, super yummy. While the chicken cooked, I put away dishes. And then, believe it or not, I did some more content after I had cleaned up the house and stuff. I don't usually have to work nearly this much. This was a little bit more than normal, but I had made like 2 new episodes a day. So 10 new episodes at the least. And that's pretty abnormal for me. It's usually around 5, so that is why I had all the extra work. But I get these ideas and then you guys have requests and I try to hit them all. A little bit more work, but it worked out fine. I didn't have a lot else going on. There was a lot of time to kill where I could be doing this work and stuff. Next week my kids will start back up with some schoolwork at home that I do with them, so I won't have as much time to dedicate to my content, but that's totally okay. Well, thank you guys so much for watching this look into my behind the scenes. If you enjoyed this video, please like it, and please subscribe to my channel. I will see you all next week.